It's very fashionable these days to talk about student poverty, and everything's in the news at the moment, particularly to do with tuition fees and finance. But I'd like to broaden that discussion out to other kinds of poverty, and I think that these days we see in students three different kinds of poverty. Now, the first kind is the one we just mentioned that everybody knows about, financial poverty, and that's done to death elsewhere. I'm not going to go into that. The second one is perhaps a bit sensitive. It's to do with intellectual poverty. If we've moved in recent years from a situation where perhaps 5% of 18-year-olds went to university to something nowadays where between 40 and 50% go to university, it's very obvious that we're taking in a much wider band of ability. And that's not a bad thing in itself. There is no difficulty in coping with that, although it's always a challenge to deal with classes of widely different intellectual ability. That really is not the kind of poverty that's a big problem. The poverty that's a big problem these days with many students is neither financial nor intellectual. It's motivational. And the student who is not motivated is going to find difficulties regardless of whether there is financial or intellectual poverty. Let's think what it might mean. The motivation is what carries you through, as I said in a different section, what carries you through the difficult times. If you have no focus and no motivation, then the moment it gets difficult, then that becomes an excuse to stop going to classes, to perhaps withdraw mentally if not physically. So I want to say that one of the things that I believe we should be thinking about very much these days, as well as looking at the financial side of things and indeed the intellectual and all the challenges of dealing with a wide range of abilities, I would like us to spend more time looking at this motivation. The motivation comes back to, why are you here? Are you in love with the subject? Do you want this as a stepping stone to a job? But the motivational poverty is by far the greatest difficulty and challenge that we as staff face these days. The government and the general public seem to think that class contact hours are a difficulty, that students are not getting value for money in terms of the hours they get in class. From our point of view, that isn't a problem. The difficulty is that the weaker students simply don't attend. It's not that they don't have enough class contact hours because we don't offer them. It's because they don't have enough class contact hours because they don't come. And if they don't come, it's very, very difficult to deal with that. So I would like to see a whole lot more emphasis on motivation, and that would happen at the time of recruitment. We'd try to find out what motivates students, and during the first half a year, to try to encourage the kind of motivation that helps them to say, I know why I'm here. I know why I'm doing this subject. I am motivated, and if times get difficult, this will help to carry me through that.